Yeah, well, I understand I got a lot on my mind, a lot on my chest.
What's going on, everybody? Lloyd Jones with Midnight Comics here. Welcome back to another episode of Indie Versus, where we break down all your favorite indie comic book characters and their stats, powers, and abilities to set them up for their eventual Indie Versus matchup. We have another awesome guest here today from the Konkret Comics camp. We're going to allow himself to introduce himself and, of course, his character and who's going to be here for the Indie Versus, or Indie Breakdown, rather. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on, bro?
Hey, Lloyd. Everything's fine, man. Nice to meet you. Nice, thanks for having me on here. Everything. I'm just excited.
For sure. So technology, everybody that's listening or watching, technology is such a beautiful and frustrating thing, but we will prevail, right? We will overcome. So we're talking about Absolver today. Tell us a little bit about the inspiration. You have to go too deep in it if you don't want to, but tell us a little bit about the inspiration. We're gonna jump into the powers and what exactly his abilities are.
Just growing up in the church, being intrigued by the stories of heaven and hell and all of that. Growing up with my sister loving Greek mythology, and so anything in that spiritual realm, I was always intrigued and a fan of. Then I just I started reading Spawn, and Spawn was just the catalyst of it all. I was fans prior to like Batman, Superman, all of that, but Spawn like really took it over the top.
That was the one.
Yeah. So that was that. He got the whole Race of Vengeance moniker because of the George Zimmerman case. After George Zimmerman got off, I felt this sense of vengeance. I wanted to take George Zimmerman out myself. So, and because Absolver and two other characters were the ones I was working on around that time, they all got revamped. And so Absolver became the Race of Vengeance.
Okay.
And that's basically his foundational root, basically.
Okay, I can definitely dig that, and you get the essence of that in those three issues, really. Especially that first one, just the whole. I mean, the feel for all of them, but like you can feel almost the not necessarily dreariness, but that overcast of that Spawn feel, right? That vengeance, that what is the word I'm looking for? Is it not vindication? What is the word I'm looking for? Whatever. The vindictive nature, maybe.
Right.
There we go. Goodness, I couldn't get the word out. All right. So tell me about then his powers. What all can he do? What's giving him the edge?
So his main ability as of right now is the Vanquish.
Okay.
And that allows him to copy the skill sets, the abilities, the knowledge, instincts of any living creature that's alive or once alive. So basically, if God created you and you had a spirit or soul, he can copy it.
Yeah.
So, and the reason why I made it that way is because we had our battles, our issues with Absolver versus the Watchmen.
Yeah.
Let's just say Watchmen, hypothetically, but he definitely copied the spirit Repellent off of issue 2. That's a fact. So whatever Repellent could do and knew how to do to that point, Absolver understands and can do himself.
Okay.
So anything. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. No, go ahead and finish. I'm sorry.
Which means anything after that Repellent would learn or Watchmen would learn, Absolver doesn't know.
Right.
See what I'm saying? So
here's
that's
what I like about that. What I like about that is now that he's copied the very essence of what they could do. Well, let me ask this first, but the potential then, they're saying potential of learning the new abilities, new skills, new techniques. Absolver now has that same potential now as well. He doesn't just have that knowledge and ability of what they could do. Does he have the potential of what they can do moving forward?
So again, the potential, no. It's almost like,
okay.
It's like if I copied a version of this program now, that's
see.
what I have. So if your program gets upgraded, I don't have the upgrade.
Okay, I see.
You understand what I'm saying? So, to me, I think that was the perfect draw. You know, that was the perfect draw. I haven't explained it yet. So his suit, aka his soul, his carapace, also acts as a multiplier.
Okay.
As well. So if you're at a 50,
we getting that inside knowledge, everybody. We getting that
yeah,
inside knowledge.
definitely. If you're at a 50, then he's obviously going to take what you can do at 50, and it's now 100 in a sense.
Okay,
You know?
I see.
So if you want to know everything he can do, and I was very vague to the point in issue 2, but he really did vanquish like all the animals in the zoo. You know, so you talk about instincts and abilities, strength. You know, he definitely could do all of that.
Okay. And so, is there like a cutoff to how long he utilizes this, or this is just that is ingrained in him from that point forward?
Oh man, you know what? I'm gonna tell everything. You know, we here as always here, right? So, in the spiritual universe that I created, every planet that God creates, he leaves what I would say a special tool for his first 2 creations of that planet.
Okay.
Hence the tears of the sun, the gems.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So basically, when you read the Bible and you know Adam is supposed to be the king of the flock and and so on and so forth. What that really means was, you know, you can vanquish every living creature on this planet, so you could learn it and master them and be the king of them. So that's basically how it works. It's almost like a flash drive to save whatever exists.
Giving full understanding.
To
give full understanding.
Yeah. So it was just a tool. So every planet has what Absolver had. Well, so Absolver wouldn't be the only person with that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm giving away way too much, but basically, you know, whoever has that rules the earth in a sense. And it only a specific key people can gain that.
Okay.
So it stays with Absolver. Now everything is based off of emotion. So the more in tune he's with himself, he can control these things like it's nothing. But if he's like has anxiety, scared, can't focus, then it's no good to him.
Okay. So now I guess I was getting ready to ask you about, well, what are we going to get more of an inside knowledge about who Absolver was prior to him becoming a tell us what Absolver. I know I've read the 3 issues, but tell us exactly what he is, a Mezzo. I know Mezzo, but can you dive into that, and are we going to see what he, you know, who he was really prior to becoming one?
Right. So heaven has its angels and hell has its demons. So there, I haven't created no crazy distinction, understanding of that. So whatever you know of angels and whatever you know of demons, that's what they are. But the Oblivion, aka Limbo, has its own spirits, and they're known as Mezzos. So Mezzos, their only purpose is to live. However, when you become a Mezzo, you pretty much live, and you are able to do based on how you was in your life when you was living.
Okay.
And that's why Absolver is the Wraith of Vengeance. So however he lived is why
it's a reflection of. Okay.
So that's essentially it. Mezzos, they can choose to be good, they can choose to be bad, they can choose to do nothing. They can live amongst us. You know, they can choose to be heroes. However they come back and however they reappear back into the world of the living is open. They can die, come back as a Mezzo through birth. You know, somebody had a kid. You know what I'm saying? So basically, Mezzos have the freedom of living You know what I'm saying? Because that's what separates us from the angels, being able to have free will and choice.
Mm.
So that's what makes them a big deal. So at the end of the day, when it comes to the battle between heaven and hell, you know, the oblivion is it's a matter of which team are they going to be on at the end.
I see. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They could be the sixth man of that team or whatever. So that's how
I can take this. Okay. So now, so we've talked about Vanquish. Vanquish, he can essentially copy the knowledge and the abilities of anybody he utilizes. Now, can you, before we move away from Vanquish, what does that do to the person that's hit with it?
So if you get hit with the Vanquish, it's almost like you die. So it's like your soul gets separated from you, and then he creates a copy, consumes the copy, and then your soul gets put back into you. And that's why I hope I conveyed that the best in issue 2, where you see Repevlin like reaching for his mirrored self, and he sees it going away.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's really what it is. So that's essentially what it is just copying your soul.
Got you. So he's removing it, copy. All right, you go on back. You get jetted back into your body, and the other one is gone. Jesus
Christ.
And
depending on the individual, you could be out for a day, a couple of days, a couple of hours. You could be out.
I can only imagine how jarring of an experience that is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because in the spiritual realm, time is different. So I want it to be whereby if you've been vanquished before, you're fearful of it, because that may have felt like an eternity for you,
Right.
So you want to avoid that in all sense of the cases. So moving forward, Repevlin sees Absolver as a pure threat. In issue 2, it was just, I just want to get some information. I'm doing a job.
Right.
Now it's a prize.
Now it's a problem.
Yeah.
So let's So we've got Vanquish then. Now I was gonna ask about where his strength is, but he's essentially got a power boost between 1 and 2 because of he used Vanquish on the animals in the zoo on 2, but then also used it on Repevlin. So I guess we can still talk about that. Tell me, what is his strength level at? Like what kind of levels of, my favorite word, what we see his feats really, but what is his strength by the time we get to the end of issue 3, which I'm pretty sure issue 4 we're going to see a new power boost, but that we'll get into that another time. But what are we looking at strength wise for him by the end of
I try to keep it based on the situation.
Okay.
Like my goal with every character I create is to keep as much things flexible as possible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want it to be open whereby, a Watchman can take him out, but at the same time, a Watchman wouldn't be able to take him out. I don't want the story to be too predictable. We already know Absolver is going to win. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's okay for him to get beat up and taken out. I want that comeback. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to write a great story. So I try to keep it in the realm of based off of the situation, who he's fighting. So I can't really tell you his strength. And then I'm against creating characters that are just OP. And I felt like when I create a character, if the ability is like 100, I need my character to have something that's like a 0 or a 10. Like that's a great balance. I think the Vanquish is a too powerful of a move, so I had to keep Absolver as regular as possible. So that's why I added all these mental restrictions and physical restrictions and stuff like that.
He said you don't want the Superman Batman effect.
Right.
Got you. Okay. So still piggybacking off of this question of strength, then though, with things like absorbing or I keep saying wanting to say absorb, with using Vanquish on those various animals and stuff like that, he gains their strength and kind of natural instinct and stuff like that on top of what he already had. I guess the question I do want to hone in on then is, what was his kind of starting? Could he lift like a car? Could he lift a building? That type of thing.
He wasn't able to lift a car or gain. Prior to that cockroach, he was pretty basic. Like he only had it was matter of fact, his only ability was at the time forgive me, I can't remember the name, was when he brought the cat back to life. There's a name for it. I cannot remember the name. That was his main ability. Because how he lived, he was an empath. If I'm saying it right. You know what I'm saying? So that's part of it. So the vanquish, obviously, based on explanation, is not his. Actually, if you remove the gems, he doesn't have the vanquish.
I see. Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. But at the same time, the gems can only be used through certain lineage, and that's all I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
So, in comparison to the speed, the speed and the strength of a cockroach is we think a cockroach is weak in comparison because they're smaller than us. But if you figure you multiply that with Absolver, that speed, and that's why he's able to jump like that with cockroaches. I've seen cockroaches jump and fly like so. So that's that. So you figure after issue 2, all those like when he got shot with by a repellent in issue 2, he was able to regenerate himself. Obviously, lizards have the ability to regenerate their tail and limbs and so on and so forth. When he was evading all repellent's bullets, obviously the agility from whatever animal and stuff comes into play there. So, what you will learn, I think I should be allowed to give this away, is that right now Absolver is on autopilot.
Wait, say that again?
Right now, Absolver's on autopilot for a lot of these things. So a mezzo. So I kind of showed it in issue 3. If you die and go to heaven, your spirit just transcends. You die and go to hell, your spirit descends. So in my head, I'm like, yo, what can I do differently for Oblivion? Like, it has to be somewhere in the middle. So what happens was you and your spirit go to Oblivion at the same time. And then instead of your spirit existing metaphorically on the inside of you, it exists on the outside of you, hence the outfit.
Interesting.
So
okay.
So the outfit is actually his spirit manifested physically. That's all mezzos.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
And not all mezzos are made equally or the same. So for an Absolver's case, him and his spirit is not.
It's not in sync. Yeah.
So right now, the spirit is doing most of the work. Absolver himself may feel like he's doing it, but it's his spirit. So that spirit has full control. And the only reason why he's bulky like that, for my DBZ fans, that's just a defensive mechanism for the spirit.
Okay.
Truthfully, he go, you know what I'm saying? So, that's basically what that is with Absolver.
Okay. So now the next question then is, so we talked about the strength there. I guess we kind of dove into like kind of the speed and agility because again, by using Vanquish on these various animals and stuff like that, he's gaining that natural instinct. He's gaining their natural strengths and experiences and stuff like that. What is there? I guess is there really an upper limit to what can kind of be tacked on with Vanquish? Because I imagine, right, he vanquishes a gorilla, turns around and vanquishes an elephant. That's 2 different strength levels stacked on top of each other, right? You know what I mean? So like, he really continues to stack, and he has. So I'm on track with that, and he really has the ability like to potentially be like
right. So Absolver really has a shit ton of moves,
okay,
and abilities. Again, there's the ones that he's gonna tap into for himself, and there's the ones he gains from vanquishing people or other people. And then as him and his soul become in tune, everything starts to become different. So you get to see the rise of this character. So I need Absolver to experience this roller coaster of a ride for himself and the readers. So issue 5, I plan on taking everybody up. I'm going to have fun with it, but then there's going to be this extreme drop off.
No. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So that's just mainly the goal. The goal is just to keep it balanced. I tell anybody that wants to create characters, like, it doesn't matter what your power set is, but you've got to find a good way to balance it for story purposes. Like, you got to be able to tell a great story. So and a lot of this just came about for me trying to create balance. It wasn't like intentional. I'm like, okay, he could do this, but I need a balance. He could do this, I'll balance it. So and that's basically what it is. You know, I think the Man of Steel helped me say, yo, that's really a good way to go, because I feel like that's the best rendition of Superman ever. I don't care how anybody feels about it, because he allowed Superman to be Superman, but made him very human. And that's the best way to tell a Superman story. You don't gotta keep fucking with the kryptonite and the red sun and bro. Make him be Superman, but he gave him all this human elements, which I think was perfect.
Glorious.
And that's what I'm trying to do with Absolver.
Okay. I like, and you said this earlier, and it kind of coincides with what you were saying just now. Just the idea, trying to avoid that kind of Batman, Superman-esque thing, or just really what we see in a lot of superhero media. Did I freeze just now?
Yeah.
Dadgummit. But well, I can still say what I was saying. I'll fix the camera in the background here. But a lot of the things that we run into in superhero media, and I kind of get the term superhero fatigue to an extent, but you know, the idea that, oh, they're always going to win. Oh, it's always going to turn out all right. And one of the examples that I like to use is, what if Infinity War ended the way that it did, but there was no end game? Right. What if, like, no, they lost and they have to live with it. Everybody's not getting blipped back. Game over. The end. And then, you know, second conversation years later, say, hey, we can still make money off these characters. We can say, oh, Kang shows up, Secret Wars, everybody comes back together. Oh, in our universe, these characters got blipped away instead. And then you merge two universes and boom, whatever, you get all your characters back. But long story short, right? Like, no, they lost. And now what does the world look like in that state where everybody lost, right? Like, let's stick to that thing, but it becomes such a money game. That's a whole nother separate thing. Oh my gosh, my camera is really disagreeing with me right now. That's okay. We're going to keep going. Okay, so we've got the ability of Vanquished. Is there, I know that's the main one for right now, but is there possibility for Absolver to learn any new moves and techniques of his own, not necessarily one that he acquired from Vanquished or something?
I mean, for the most part,
it's really weird, but I'm sorry.
For the most part, it would usually be Vanquished. But Absolver has quite a few moves that belong to him outside of that.
Okay.
You know, the story of Absolver is just a great build-up for the end game.
Okay.
You know, I don't plan on telling anything past the ending yet.
Okay.
But when I wrote out the endings, Absolver, everything now is just for the end game. And
okay.
So him being able to learn a lot just makes the most sense. I want him to become that person. Absolver will be him. You feel me? Like, so you know.
I like the fact that you have a solidified ending almost, where it's like, I know exactly where I'm going. We're not gonna go on for eternity. Like this, there's a point we're getting at here, and if anything happens further, cool. But you know, that's one of the things I like about like Attack on Titan. Well, I guess he's coming out with another issue, but that's one of the things I liked, where it's just like, it's, you know, not spoiling the ending or anything like that, but X, Y, and Z happen. You know, throughout the course of the series, we lost these people. There are no Dragon Balls. There is no, you know, reanimation due to, there is none of that. This is it. There is loss. People were getting killed. It's done. That's it. There's no way of bringing these people back. And so I like those kind of definitive endings, right? He's going to grow to a certain point. Whatever happens to him in the world that he resides in, that's it. And so I'm definitely excited.
Right. Appreciate it. I appreciate it. You know, just because, but you know, I'm trying to be as unique as possible. I have Absolver with 3 to 4 different endings. Like intentionally, like you're going to get all 4 endings. Because the endings are, so the endings are just basic. Because
This is
I
spoiler
don't
content, ladies
plan
and gentlemen.
on
Couple
Absolver
years.
on one side or the next.
Okay.
You know, heaven is always going to be heaven toward him. Like he's an issue for heaven because they don't want hell to get him, and hell's always going to be at him because they need him to defeat heaven. So Absolver's always going to be here. There's going to be times in the story where he may sway, but he's going to be in the oblivion, and that is very important for the ending. And if he exists in the middle and stays in the middle, that means there's room for multiple endings. You know, and then I think I'm gonna leave it just like that. You know.
Okay.
You know, whatever.
Yeah, don't spoil too much for us, but now my what if fan fiction gears are kind of turning with it because now it's like, okay, there's him, right? If he decides to have any kind of motive for himself, if he just stays in the middle with Oblivion, sides with heaven, sides with hell, now it's just like, what do these different threads lead to, and what is the outcome in that ultimate war between all of these realms and that battle within himself?
So
yes.
So if I say, let's say there's a 20-page ending, the first 10 pages is X, Y, and Z. The rest of it is okay. This is what happens when if he sides with hell. The next one's going to be the same 10 pages. And what happens when he sides with heaven? And the next page is same 10 pages. This is what happens when he stays in the oblivion. And the fourth one is going to be the surprise. You know, you know what I'm saying? So
I like that. Okay, that's definitely different. That's definitely different. There's nobody in NDC doing that. No, that's different. How long? And this is kind of deterring away from, you know, the versus aspect of it. But out of curiosity, though, how many issues are you thinking about for Absolver?
So my roadmap is 100 issues.
Okay.
But I'm trying to condense it down to 70, 75.
Okay.
And I feel like the best way of doing that is no longer restricting myself. So I'm no longer going to try to release a single issue every so often. My goal is to get 3 to 4 issues done at a time and package it in one book, boom, and then here you go. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's essentially what I'm trying to practice with issue 5. I want to see how that goes. You know, issue 5 is I just want to be able to write freely, get everything in there that I can, and then you know, create a chapter book. Chapter 1, 15 pages. Chapter 2, whatever. Then chapter 3, so on and so forth. And then here's the story. And within doing that, I'm gonna write it a certain way where there would be time gaps and missing weeks and months or whatever and so forth. So that'll leave room for, you know, mini issues and stuff like that. Or if Absolver needs to team up here or there, he could exist anytime in these windows. But to me, I'm gonna fast forward it and have like a lot of time missing in a sense.
Okay. So definitely leaving yourself open for future stories. Okay. I could definitely dig all that. So I guess not necessarily last thing, but one of the last things then. I mean, I guess I already asked this. I was gonna ask like what kind of I won't ask that because we kind of got the answer. It was kind of be like what kind of power-ups and stuff like that will he get on top of this? But that's not really what I would ask. How is it possible to actually stop Absolver? And if so, how?
Woo, you asking the big question. All mezzos, okay, in the spiritual realm I created, if you are a spirit, you actually really don't die.
Okay.
You're just not allowed to return to that physical realm for X amount of time.
Interesting. You know? So it's like a spawn point and you have a countdown before you come back.
Yeah. Okay. So, you know, so pain and death, all spiritual entities really feel it. Because it's every time I create a character that can regenerate, I always give them that pain factor.
Okay.
Like I had this one character named Turn Killer. You know?
Okay.
Yeah, you get it.
Okay.
And he's gonna make his appearance in issue 5. So basically, he can die, but every time he dies, he ends up in hell. So if he dies and he regenerates in 5 minutes, to you and I, he came back in 5 minutes. To him, he was in hell for months.
Okay.
So when I write that character, I can write him afraid to die or get shot, even though he knows he can come back to life.
He's still going through that torment of hell.
So yeah, he's still vulnerable to that. He doesn't want to die. I can be like, yo, just run out there. You can come back. He's like, oh, fuck you, bro. I don't want to die. You know,
I'm not going through that again.
You know, so like all demons and angels, they still want to experience life or whatever the case may be. They don't want to die because they want to stay here or something. You know, so when it comes to mezzos, there's a certain way to take them out. You gotta whoever controls their heart owns the mezzo. Okay. So that mezzo can be slave to you. And the only way to destroy the mezzo at that point is to burn it with a specific type of fire from either heaven or hell to totally destroy the mezzo.
Okay. And if you don't do that, they kind of just keep coming at you, like do they get knocked out or anything, or is it just
so again, can the mezzo die? Yes, you tell me a mezzo gets shot in the head, he will die. He just can't come back to that plane for X amount of time.
That's right.
So he died for that plane. If you want to ensure that mezzo never comes back, is you take out their heart and you destroy it.
Otherwise, they will haunt you for eternity. Like, nah, bro, revenge.
Right. Okay. So that can be, and that's pretty much the same for all spiritual creatures. But in this realm, only spiritual people have that knowledge. So whereby Pastor David wouldn't know that. To him, he may have heard it through studies and research, but he doesn't know it for sure. They just want to, because at the end of the day, again, time is not the same for us.
Right.
So that angel can die, that demon can die, and they're away for like 2 weeks. For us, they're gone forever.
Yeah.
You know, because we don't live that long. Point. Yeah, so that's, to me, I felt like that was the great equalizer. And again, a lot of this just comes from me just forcing myself to be different than the norm.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody's done it before. I'm not too sure, but I felt like this is original as fuck. So
no. In that case, no. I don't think not that I could think, especially not in the indie space, anybody's playing with spiritual entities and the time and the concept of death and time. You know what I mean? Like that's, I would like to say that's definitely unique for sure. Okay, so they can be essentially knocked out, but they will be back. They're not dead until. Okay, so Repellent was doomed to fail, really, in that mission of killing Absolver, but they did get the information needed. Like, he's not getting taken out by conventional means, essentially.
Right. Repellent's character was supposed to be another character. He was a Marine. And Absolver was supposed to take him out by vanquishing him and then gaining his knowledge as a Marine. But then that Marine comes back as a robot or a cyborg. And because I needed to show that the vanquish would not work on the cyborg.
Yeah.
So that was very important for me. So once those two things happened, that cyborg would have been coming back. At that point, he would have been like a gimmick. Like, he's come back with different parts and ability to try to kill Absolver, but he just keeps taking them out and he keeps rebuilding him. I just want to do something fun with that. But I ultimately went with Repellent because it made sense in how issue 1 ended. I didn't want to draw Repellent to issue 3 or issue 4 because I've already remapped my route. So Repellent needed to come in issue 2 early.
Okay. Well, I think I have what I need for the Indie versus matchup. I don't know. So how it usually works, I don't know who he's going to be up against. I'm going to drop him on a randomizer wheel. At the end of the season, if you would, drop them on a randomizer wheel and see who he ends up facing off against. But and this won't be like death battle necessarily, where it's like they don't have to kill each other. But I don't know. Like thinking about the ones that the interviews that I've done so far, they're not going to be able to stand up to that because not a lot of them aren't even on the same level as a character like Repellent already, right?
Right.
Maybe Black Bow, right? In regards to like peak physical physicality or whatever. We've interviewed like the Delta Dogs and stuff. They have numbers, but the experience like that Repellent has already, they've already got him. Like they're already outmatched by somebody like Repellent, right?
Right.
So yeah, I'm just thinking about it. It's gonna be tough to have. It's gonna be tough whichever character actually ends up facing him because I don't think they have the arsenal necessary to keep up with his current stats, if that makes sense. Now, obviously, of course, we also interviewed Lonzo, so Akolyte is ridiculously strong, so that's a whole nother thing. But what are the chances, bro? If y'all end up face off against sure, that's gonna be.
Well, that's all we can say. So Lonzo wins today. Absolver gonna win tomorrow. It's just that
there you go. There you go. But nah, okay. Well, before we get out of here, we will close out. Tell the people where they can find you and where they can get check out Absolver so they can read this stuff for themselves.
Yeah, my name is Jermael Lessey, the writer and creator of Absolver. You can follow me on IG at Absolver_the Ray. You can issues 1 through 3 is available right now at KonkretComics.com. Issue 4 will be dropping pretty soon, and yeah, just holler at me.
Okay,
I'm here. Thanks for having me, Lloyd.
man, for sure, dude, for sure.
I appreciate it.
And
I invested in my little camera and stuff. I'm about to be setting up my own stuff too, so you just be prepared for my interviews.
Okay, yeah, let me know, bro. We'll be happy. And
we're gonna have fun though. I hope you understand. I can't be like everybody else. We're gonna have some fun.
Oh Lord. Okay. I'm mad at it. We'll be there.
Yeah.
Now, for everybody listening and watching, of course, I'm Lloyd Jones with Midnight Comics, and this was Indie Breakdown. You can find all of our information down below. Or for you guys listening, visit midnightcomics.org or Midnight X Comics on everything except for YouTube and Facebook, where we're just Midnight Comics. And yeah, this was another Indie Breakdown episode. And remember, everybody, until next time, midnight is coming. We'll catch you later.
What? Yeah. What? Understand I got a lot on my mind, a lot on my chest. That's why.
Awesome, bro.